You are now tuned to BS3 Network. BS3 Network, changing the way you listen to podcasts.
Welcome to another episode of Queen3 King. I am your host, King Dog, here to check your mentals and your dentals. Hopefully you done brushed and you ain't got no yuck mouth. But either way, you can participate. We got some special guests today. We got the doc in the building, Dr. Latoya Carter.
All right.
Hey, Doc.
Hey, thank y'all for having me.
Talk about, we got to get her in with the clinicals, but she got a little hood in her too, so that's why she can come.
Come on, hood clinicals. I'm for it. I'm for it.
And then we have the one, the only, G3 Gary, the Freelosopher of Frreman.
Yes, sir.
It is a new year. It is a new G3. He got on his clean white shirt today.
Baby, he didn't come to play.
Then, and I got lined up before the show.
Okay.
All right.
Did not come to play.
So on to my regular introductions. Well, I moved some faces around here. All right, we're going to start out in Atlanta, Texas. We have the seasoned queen, known as Boney Maroney, Skinny Minnie, Coco, Darling Nikki, the grandma herself, looking like Irene Cara.
Oh, all right.
Talk to the people. Oh, that's a compliment. I'm just saying your bangs. The bangs look like she worked hard for the money, don't they, G3?
The bang.
Yes,
the
hard for the money.
Hi,
fam. I hope y'all had a great day.
Yeah, scoot up to the table. Yeah, we can barely hear you.
Oh, what?
Yeah, look like you're in a house. And next we have the educator queen,
What's up, bud?
known as Meba TT, Queen of Tulsa, like the Tulsa King. We got the Tulsa Queen. She got the ankle monitor off. She in the last week. The ankle monitor's off, but she got a little rash where it was. So
That means she didn't wash.
Right.
Oh my God.
So she having to put on that Vaseline on it. Talk to the people.
Good evening, everybody. Yeah.
Good evening.
Yeah.
Oh, she got the deep Anita Baker rocking. Like if Anita Baker and Barry White had a baby, that's what they said.
I'll take their money.
And last but certainly not least, we got the baby queen, Lee, Mama Lee, formerly known as Blake's mama, but now is squarely entrenched in the corner of Bronxy, who just turned a year old, and stuck his shoe in his birthday cake. Most kids put their mouth in it. He put his tennis shoes in it.
And didn't care.
Fresh pair of white forces, like, oh. But hello, everyone.
See, that's the problem. That was the Lord telling you, go to Payless like your mama used to take you.
They ain't got Payless no more.
They got it wrong.
Payless gone.
Walmart, go get them some. Hey, I'm gonna tell you like Craig say, buy shoes at the same place you buy his groceries.
Y'all wrong.
Don't do that.
Then you ain't gotta figure out where you're gonna put all them boxes at. You just gotta cut that little hanging thing off, and you ready to go. All right, we got Aunt Weed in the building.
Hey, Annie.
Hey, Weeda.
Hi.
What's up? And Aunt Weeda, I talked to Barita about helping me organize a blackjack night for the mamas and the aunties, so we know them laughs is gonna be big.
Baby, that's gonna be good.
And I'm the bartender.
Yeah, count me in.
Yeah.
So again, let me just knock the corner. Did I give you enough time to speak and say hi to everybody and how your Christmas and your New Year's was? Ain't nobody make you mad or nothing?
No, I came into the new year great. I'm doing well, thank you. I'm just happy to be back here with y'all.
All right,
We
and
love you
Happy
here.
to have you here.
Yeah, and you're on
I love being here.
Oh, go girl.
Perspective forecast on Thursday nights at 7:00, right?
8:30.
8:30.
Y'all after Justin.
Yeah.
So 8:30, and you want to give a shout out to your co-hosts?
I do. I miss y'all. I'm so excited for our show on Thursday. What's up, y'all? And they need to be tuning in because I told them to tune in.
Okay.
No, y'all know that's right.
Yeah, we got Miss Keisha Walker, and we got Eric Butler, the
intellect.
male voice, the intellect, the male voice in the building, and he keep y'all straight as best he can. But when
And
he can't,
Lolo.
Hello.
yeah, for sure. All right, Mr. Frreman, anything new for this year? What's your education journey? You got that degree wrapped up and all that?
Yeah. Hey, thank God. To God be the glory. That journey is over with. That master's is achieved, and I wrote my last essay, and I said, "This is the last essay I will ever write in my entire life."
I heard
and
that.
I meant that. Right. I was thinking maybe I could get to a PhD, but I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
What is your master's in?
Sports and entertainment management.
Oh, right.
It's an MBA, but it's sports and entertainment management. That's the concentration.
I love it.
Well, I got a good.
Now I don't know what to do with myself. Now I'm bored. I'm sitting around bored all the time.
Well, hey, you know what to do. You know what to do. You know what to do.
Philosophies.
I got a partner, man. If you planning on trying to do something in that arena, that's been doing that for, man, I know Eric been doing it for a couple of decades, man. He lived in Houston. He's been on the cusp of big signings. He had got several D League players and stuff like that. So, if you ever want to rap with him, man, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to set that up, man.
Hey man, I'm in Houston right now. I'm working on a project down here, so yeah, maybe I'll get with you after the show.
You're cool, brother, man. Maybe I can catch up and do lunch or something like that. Cool, brother, man. Yeah,
absolutely.
And we got CJ in the building.
What up,
CJ?
And then we got we to say y'all ready for an ass beating?
Dang.
You know what I'm talking about? That's that ain't it. In case anybody asking, that's that ain't it. But the sad thing is, we probably got 2 or 3 of them.
I have your beers ready.
Yeah. Again, our topic for today is communication hesitation. Communication hesitation, and I'm gonna play the video that sparked. I can't even remember where I got this one at. I come across them. Gary be sending them to me. Lily be sending them to me. Mika, I ain't no telling where I got this from, but when I got this one, I'm like, we got to talk about this one. So let me play this video and then we'll chop it up.
Every time the topic of cheating comes up, I've noticed that women always tend to say, well, if he had a problem, then he should communicate that and not just go cheat. Fair enough. And I'm not disagreeing with that. Absolutely. He should communicate. But here is where I do have an issue. Oftentimes, when something is said to a woman that she finds offensive, she goes on the defense and begins to attack. So how exactly is he supposed to communicate? I mean, y'all want the man to communicate, right? So if your man comes to you and says, hey, our sex is a little boring and your skills are a little less than average. Are you going to become offended? Are you going to get angry? Are you going to start an argument with him? Are you going to turn around and say something back and attempt to hurt his feelings? Even though his intent was never to hurt your feelings, he was communicating like you asked him to. So are you going to be able to receive that and have a conversation and fix the problem? Or are you going to turn it into an argument? If he comes to you with complaints about your cooking and says, hey, I don't really like your food, or maybe suggest that you take cooking lessons, or suggest that you do something different to your meals, are you going to be able to receive that? Or are you going to get offended and start an argument and say something slick back to him because you feel like he was attacking you? If he comes to you and says something about your communication style and tells you that, it's just not working for him the way that you communicate, and tries to find a solution, are you going to be able to receive that? Or are you going to be offended because you feel like he's attacking you, and then turn around and attack him because now his truth hurt your feelings? And this is why so many men say that women don't want the truth. And this is also why so many men don't even bother to try to communicate. Because when they do try to communicate, the woman takes it as an attack, and in return attacks him because her feelings are hurt. When in actuality, it should have just been a conversation about how he feels, about the problem, so that you can come to a solution. But that doesn't happen because, again, so many of you do not want the truth. You want what sounds good to you, and you want what makes you feel good. You want the truth packaged up in a pretty little lie.
We can't hold hands, so put your hands up like this and bow your head and close your eyes, because we need to parade.
Yeah.
Let me just do this before I get into asking specific questions.
Thank you,
I
Lord.
want to just ask some general thoughts, and I'm going to start with our guests. We're going to start with Doc. Talk to me. Bless
Oh, bless you.
I mean, did that sneak up on you? It sounded like a hard thing with that, man. I mean,
And no, it scared me because I didn't expect it.
Let me rewind the tape, because I bet you that
Excuse me, Jesus.
You got a cough button, but it can be used for sneezes, farts, all of that.
I couldn't mute fast enough. It snuck up on me like the devil.
That caught her off guard. She said,
It
did I just sneeze?
You wasn't sure what had happened. Yeah, she looked around to see if angels was around her. Am I still living?
Woo, thank you, Lord.
Tell us something. Just give us your overall thoughts, just some quick thoughts, quick reaction to that video.
I thought she was right. I didn't like her tone, and she was a little spicy with it. But I thought she was spot on. I thought she was absolutely correct.
Okay.
Tone and delivery is everything.
All right. G3, talk to me.
I've lived through that for a long time. I know exactly what she's talking about, and
he out of town and he acting a fool, ain't he? He out of town. He talking fast, talking about what he done lived through.
I know exactly what she's talking about. Oh, absolutely. I agree.
Okay. All right, Lily.
I agree with everything she's saying. Oftentimes we use an argument or a conversation as our time to, well, let me tell you what you've done. And that's really not the time to unpack. So yeah, I agree.
I used to say that all the time. That if you wait till I want to talk to you about something to bring the list of what you had, your argument,
it wasn't real.
It's like you're using it as a defense mechanism, not because it's really what you feel.
Right.
And if
Absolutely
it was,
correct.
why are you holding it? It's like you're holding it as a weapon. Like you got a quiver of arrows behind you, so that way, whenever the stuff comes, okay, this nigga did this the other day. We start shooting. But the conversation ain't got to be like that.
Yeah.
All right, Mika, did I say something to you?
No, not yet. I am with Doc on this. She was totally correct, but when you come at me like this, it's hard for me to receive it a little bit. Like, I heard you, but then I was like this. And are you? I didn't like it.
How much good information are we missing?
No.
On how people saying stuff.
It's about the tone and the delivery, because I just said she was absolutely correct. But if you come to me and your tone is like this,
she less correct.
No, she's going. I'm going to receive it, but I'm going to say, "And who the hell are you?"
Right. Or I won't receive it at all because I pretty much blocked you out because your delivery.
Yeah, like her message gets lost because she rolling her neck. Why are you rolling your neck?
And if he come to you,
that I didn't like that, but she was right. But I didn't like it.
You know, what if a dude has got $1 million secret he gonna tell you? But he say, you need to get your ass over there and do such and such. But the secret is worth $1 million. You're gonna let how he told you affect you from getting that $1 million?
Did we say we didn't receive it?
Yes, yeah.
No, we didn't.
I may not receive it.
She said I may not. She said I received it. She was totally correct. But this, girls, how many times have your man? Girl, wait a minute. I hear you.
You got something to say about this tone situation, man, and why they letting it affect them, man?
To me, it wasn't that aggressive. I mean, I've seen some aggressive conversations before.
Well, I'm sorry that y'all dealing with these aggressive females.
Because that was aggressive.
That was a little aggressive, guys. We didn't say it was horrible. It was she had some bump behind it.
You're getting told about yourself, and all of a sudden, it's pretty doggone aggressive. So I think that's what it is. As a matter of fact, because of that, I'm moving Gary up a spot and I'm moving Mika down.
Do it.
But look, I won't even say that she was aggressive because I always hate that word because it's often used when you're talking about a Black woman. Right. But she did have a little twang on it, which I hear you. I hear you. I'm getting it. But some people won't receive that because they be like, and why is she acting like she got it? Or she know it all? Or she moving like this? Well, did you listen when he did this? Did you listen when he did that? You don't want people checking you through a video. Especially when you feel like it's hitting home, it's going to hurt a little bit more because you feel like this got some twang on it.
Nikki roll her eyes quite a bit at people. So, Nikki, how you feel about it?
I sure do roll when I need to.
Mama used to say something. Mama used to call it wall your eyes. Wall your eyes. Let me again. Wall your eyes. Let me again.
But I agree with some of the things that she's saying and stuff, but the delivery. And Mama used to always tell us, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So, and that's in everything. And so that way your delivery is a little bit more easier for people to swallow.
Yeah. See, G, this is between me and you. I ain't saying I'm not talking to them right now.
No.
We can't say it right.
You're not gonna get
when
it.
You text it, you trying to read emotion into my text. I can't. What I'm gonna do? Email
what are
it?
Females?
I need to get a singing.
But what are females?
Telegram.
What are females? We're
emotional creatures.
Exactly. We're emotional creatures. So we're gonna insert emotion within whatever.
That. We got the blue freak in the building.
Hey, Theodora.
She says, bless you. She also says powerful. And then she on that crazy train too. Delivery is everything.
Okay, so just because we don't agree with you, we on a crazy train?
Oh, yeah, you're crazy. With a K. And see, Lynn is the only one. She don't care how you say it. She gonna listen. She gonna stay in there cooking them devil eggs.
No, listen. Keep on going though. Keep going down the comments.
Right.
Hey, we done said, I know me and I would hit back hard with this bad love making. God damn. His script, soon as a few more things, I would flip the script on him. I would have that nigga crying. Wow.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
You can't use it as your door to go swing.
Say absolutely how you say it.
Yeah.
Y'all some soft ass.
No, we
What
not
you say?
because I heard you.
I did too.
You can sit
All
down.
right.
Sit on
So
down.
let's just break this down. Okay. She says he did communicate, but you just got defensive.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I'm gonna ask the ladies this, and anybody can jump in. Have y'all ever been guilty of that? Say,
Yes.
you tell him you need to communicate. He did, but you got defensive.
Yes, Lord.
Yeah.
Yes,
Nikki,
Lord.
you did. What can he tell you?
Huh?
What can he tell you?
What he tell me?
Yeah. You said you've been guilty. What he said?
I have been guilty of it. In the first part of our relationship, I have been guilty about it. When he would come to me and tell me things that, because we have a blended family. So when he would come to me and tell me things about the kids or something else, you don't want to hear certain things about your kids. And if you do, if you bring me something about my kids, make sure that your delivery is right. So that was really hard at first, and I had to learn how to take it and you know what I'm saying, dissect what he's saying and swallow it. So, but yeah, I've been in that situation before. I'm sure everybody on the panel have been in that situation.
And then tell the time about the time he said you was wearing your jeans too tight. He said cut that out.
No,
too.
he didn't say that, boy. You
He is so stupid.
Doc, I know you ain't been guilty of this, Doc. You a clinical psychologist. Come on, ain't no way you done did it.
Listen, so in the beginning of my marriage, this was also the beginning of my clinical journey. I would get defensive. I don't want to hear what I did wrong, but the caveat to that is if we get defensive and we start like lashing out, they're not going to tell us no more. So it's being able to hear what they're saying for the information and not necessarily the emotion behind it. You got to learn how to like control your emotions. I'm better about it now, but back in the day,
of course.
Yeah, I'm upset. I don't want to hear what I'm doing wrong because I'm perfect.
Yeah.
Bit.
Yeah.
Lily, what Brandon say?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're learning who you're with, that's gonna happen.
You said your noodles was dry, didn't he?
No, he did not. So, but I'm serious. Like whenever you're learning about somebody and they say something to you, yeah, you're gonna be like, I know he didn't just come in here and tell me. Well, you know what? I didn't like the way you did this last week. You gonna unpack because you already been sitting on that.
Yeah,
you ready at any point. You
can't wait till that Negro say something.
Yeah, I've been waiting for you to say something. So here we go.
Yeah,
that's all a part of learning. But I have grown, which I am
and
so
Gary,
proud of
you got out of everybody on here, you got permission to jump in at any time. You understand? We the kings on here, so we speak when we ready to. So if you got something to say, just say it, man.
All right. All right. Don't have him getting what you gonna get.
And who is this right here? Jeff?
That's my man.
I know that's my new best friend. I was listening to the show the other day, and he was saying some stuff in the comment section that I was agreeing with, and we were seeing stuff eye to eye. And I said, "Did we just become best friends?" And he said, What's up, Jeff, man? Good to have you. Lynn say, glad you know me. And then Keisha says, hi, everyone.
Hey, Kilolo.
Hey, Key.
Let's see. And she said, I totally agree, Doc. Control your emotions and let him talk first. But, baby. Weeda says, Ted, you know that all the women in our family wear our jeans tight. Tread lightly, Gary. All right. So that's happened. Okay, Gary, what about you? How do you handle that? So let's take the other. I wasn't planning on going here, but this just popped into my head. What happened to you? You giving some information, and you thought you were going into it, and I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna, keep my tone low and stuff, and it still wasn't received properly. Sheep started popping out. What you doing, man? How you handle it?
I bring it back. Hey, look, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that later. But what you're bringing up, we'll deal with that later. But we gonna talk about what I brought up first.
Yes,
we're gonna handle that first.
That don't sound right though, Gary. You sound like you got too much bass, man. And I don't know.
And that's exactly what I was gonna get to a while ago, or earlier, or because this kind of popped into my head. The phrase toxic masculinity. it has become whenever a man voices his opinion, it is assumed that it's some aggression and it's putting a woman in a place when it's actually just no. Yeah. I've got some feelings. I've got some emotions that I need to get out, just like you do. This isn't toxic. It's just me telling you how I feel. It's me putting my foot down, because everybody has that opportunity. Everybody has that right. But we've gotten into a society where that word has been tossed around so much that it's making men go into a shell. It's making men pull back because they're questioning themselves. They're actually questioning their masculinity and saying, well, if I say this, am I wrong? Is everything that she says right? And that's just, and so what you're ending up, and you'll see this happen as time progresses. You'll see a bunch of unhappy men, and then the tides will flip, where you see probably more than likely more men filing for divorces because they can no longer live with the unhappiness, like where we are with the women that are following that trend. Yeah. So that's just my 2 cents. It's the way I look at it. And so I've learned that I've got to watch how I say things. And I actually had gotten to the point where it was so much that was bottled up that it made me frustrated. It made me mad. And then I just had to get to the point where I was like, well, shit, she's just going to be mad. I got to say what I got to say. And so, but you don't want to get there. You don't want to get there. So
right. So here's a couple of things that I did.
Alicia, get up.
I'm gonna try to make Doc proud on one of these on how I'm handling it, because again, I'm dating, right? You know, trying to date with a purpose, but right. So one of the things that I put into practice before is, if I had to have a conversation that I knew was going to be a difficult conversation, difficult for her to hear, I always start that conversation with a prayer. That has almost been flawless for me. I've almost never got any pushback when I started it with the prayer first. And during that prayer, I said, Lord, condition our hearts, condition our minds, condition the way I say it, condition the way she receives it. When I say that, it typically disarms. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I communicate early about communication. See, people say that, we're not communicating a lot, right? And I say, let's talk about how we gonna talk. And I try to set boundaries. Let me cut Lily ass out, because I don't know what the fuck she's laughing at. But I try to establish boundaries and say, hey, when we're talking, when we're communicating, these are some of the ground rules. It's a safe place. It's got to be judgment free. It's got to be, if you got an issue with it, and I'll say those types of things. If you got some issues that you've been holding on, that ain't the time to be talking about it. If I did something wrong, come to me later and say, hey, I got this issue, I got that issue, or whatever, but don't do it right then and there. So again, communicating about communication, I think, is a big deal.
But I think it grows with age, because I noticed in my my early 20s, mid 20s, I was ready to get live. I ain't did this?
All the way live.
I was ready to get live. Yeah. And I'll be like, well, I do 80% of the stuff right, but you talking to me about this 20?
Yeah.
But the older you get, the more you're like, okay, I want him to talk to me. I want him to feel like it's a safe space. But if he talking to me about the way I talked to him this morning, okay, I can receive that. And sometimes, like you said, talking about communication, I have to tell the person I'm with, hey, if you come to me about something I did wrong, sometimes it's hard for me to receive. It's even hard to receive at work. So, if you messed up at work, if you messed up in a relationship, be like, okay, can I process for about 30 minutes? Then I can talk. So it's just important that you communicate about the way you process, the way you receive information, so that they know she's not being ugly or he's not being ugly. They just need time to process.
Yeah.
All right.
I also think when you're sharing or talking about like how you communicate, and let's talk about talking, how we're going to talk or whatever, and being proactive about it. I also think it's important for you to see your own blind spots in those conversations, because to tell someone like, hey, this how we're gonna do it, this what it is. Okay, but what if they don't go with that? You know what I mean? Like, do you need the full 30 minutes or can it be 15? Because if you take 30, then I feel away. You know what I mean? I think the opportunity to see your own blind spots when you're not emotionally triggered is super important too.
Yeah,
very true.
I like that.
Yeah, I've said that too. When they're having conversations, I'm like, I want to have this conversation when there's no emotion tied to it. You know, when ground rules are being said, there's nothing on the line. Ain't nobody getting in trouble about nothing. Ain't nobody mad at nobody. Let's just talk about this for a second, you know. And what's worked well is to remind about conversations. Hey, remember we said we were gonna, you know, approach it this way. I think it was on this show where we watched that video and we talked about how calm and cool that man was when he was talking to that lady. He goes,
oh yeah, yes, I remember that.
Okay, you know, and he was like taking deep breaths, and you can tell he was trying to keep it real, you know, quenched and, you know, not going off with it. Let's see, Lynn said, when you finish, I'll definitely have something to say. See, at that point, you ain't listening. You waiting on your turn to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Waiting on that pause.
Yeah. Keisha said, what about the men with the naturally slick ass smiles, the ones that cause women to handle men like that? Wow. They out there.
They out there.
But if every man you dealing with got a slick ass mouth that make you go there, maybe it's one constant. It's a common denominator, and it ain't the slick ass mouths.
Yikes.
Yeah. Let's see. Brandy, daughter in love, says, I wear my feelings on my sleeve, so I hate when I come to someone and talk about my feelings and they flip and say, well, you did so and so. That makes me feel like my feelings are no longer valid. Right on.
You know what? I also want to add this to this. Men are just naturally not multitaskers. Women definitely have that down to a T in comparison to men. So if a man brings up a subject and now all of a sudden you're forcing him to multitask, you're putting him at a major disadvantage, and there will be no solution because he's at such a disadvantage, and you're at such women are going to be at such an advantage. So I'm just saying that to you ladies, just to say, you know, kind of think about what position you're putting that man into when you come at him like that, when you come at, not even the tone, just when you bring that up, when he's trying to get something across, that does kind of muddy the waters and kind of sends it in a different direction.
Yeah, I promise you, as soon as you say, can we talk? Oh, that nigga is trying to hold it together. You hear what I'm saying? Because he knows.
I've actually ruined men's day asking, hey, later on when we get together, can we talk?
Don't do that to me.
I don't like that. I don't think you should do people like that.
I'm telling you, in my 20s, I was wrong.
Because now you got him sitting on it all day.
Now he's sitting there.
And then you have the whole day to like create your anxiety and like, no, I don't do that. Don't do that.
That's what
talk to me when you see me.
Yeah, that's right.
And I used to think, okay, I'm gonna prepare him so we can talk later. But now I'm like, that brings up, because if you call me at work and say, hey, later on, can we talk? I'm like, oh, we about to break up. Yeah. He done cheated. He done did this.
Let's talk now. You got to
That's what I say.
I can step out.
Right.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, no. Wow. I don't like that.
Let's see.
Brandon will ask, is it a serious talk or a fun talk?
No drama.
Wow.
No, that's right. I like that.
I always just assume it's going to be something I got to change. Now what I got to change.
Yo, okay, Gary he about to move me to tears.
He said, it's me.
Somebody asked me, why it's always something I got to change? Because you the one always fucking up. That's why.
This is a real personal.
Yeah.
All right.
He went through this yesterday. Wait a minute.
Even when he said in the beginning, she just about to be mad.
Yeah, hey, when he just said why something I got to change, it wasn't no smile in his heart. No. Let's see. Lynn said,
crying.
okay, G, I agree. You have feelings just like we do, but now I will say that not enough of our black women hear our men out and focus on what he's trying to express. I've learned that from past relationships. We should learn from past relationships and not hold grudges. Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. And let's see. My homeboy, Jay Gilliam says, what is the time to process limit? Because women be saying, I need time to process, and it be 2 days.
Sometime a whole week.
I love it. And hey, and you know what? That's a fair point.
That is a fair question.
What could happen? You give them as much time as they need, but don't go that whole time without saying anything.
Right.
At least come back and say, hey, I hadn't forgot about it. We good. I just still am trying to process it. I want to make sure I'm examining myself as well. You feel
But he's totally right. He's totally right. We don't need 2 weeks to process and not speak to you walking around the house. That's ugly.
Yeah, you may.
That is ugly.
Yeah,
because
that's
the silent treatment, that's actually emotional manipulation.
Yes, that's ugly.
Don't
That's
do that
very
to
ugly.
me. You want to get put out of my house? Walk around and try to walk around 2 or 3 days without saying nothing to me.
Yeah.
And then when you get hungry or when your car run out of gas, so now your ass can talk, huh?
Babe, can you give me the gas?
Don't put no ribs on the grill.
What's up, Kirby?
Hey, Kirby.
Hey, Kirby.
We got Ben in the building.
Hey, man.
If Erica there, he ain't gonna say nothing about this topic. I promise.
He bet not.
Let's see. God, dog. Keisha wrote paragraphs in there. She goes, I worked for a doctor that yelled at me last week, Wednesday at 2:24 p.m. for the 4th time during my time on this position. Yes, I documented. He kept telling me about like Mika said, the 20% I did incorrectly, but failing to say anything about the 80% I do well. I damn near called him politely packed up my belongings and went home. He's been trying to talk to me and make it right, but I keep it professional and only answer the necessary question. Now he stays out of whatever. She ran. They told us she had 2 minutes space and shit. They wouldn't even. StreamYard didn't even want to hear nothing else she had to say. Yeah. So one of the things that if I can give a suggestion on these conversations, so you're not an individual, whether it be a man or a woman, so they don't think you're focusing on the 10% they don't do right, or the 15% they don't do right, or the 5% that they don't do right, but you acknowledge the majority of what they do well. Use your sandwich method. You start, you say what you need to say, and then you end with a compliment. Hey, I'm not saying, trust me. You're great. I love the way you do, maybe even give good examples, like, hey, I like how you do that. I like how you do this. I like when you rub me there.
Oh my God.
When you wait till 9:30 to bathe, sometimes that bothers me.
9:30.
Well, never.
So Gary kind of alluded to this a little bit, and I want to ask. I'm gonna start with Nikki on this one. He kind of get started with that question or whatnot. Why do men go silent?
I think that the reason why they go silent is that they just don't want to deal with the outcome of an argument or things of that nature. Mm-hmm. I think that's the main reason they do that, because they feel like they're going to get shut down if they say something.
Okay. Mika, why do men go silent?
Well, I'm going to just be honest. I've grown a lot. Thank you, Lord. Thank you to therapy. Thank you to Jesus. But I think we as Black women, and go ahead and put it in the comments, I'm okay with it. We don't make a safe place for our Black men a lot of the time. And I think Black men should come home to peace. Now, you're going to have times where you have to have discussions and all that good stuff, but make it a safe place for him to feel okay to express his feelings, okay to be vulnerable, okay to cry, okay to say, you know what, you were tripping this morning, and it's not a whole argument for a whole week. So being able to make it a safe place for our Black men.
What about the Black woman? Safe place too.
So Lily,
Dad just ran over it.
There's this comment, huh? There's this comment from this individual. Let's see what they say. From the Queen3 King podcast, he should come home to peace and a piece.
That is you.
You did.
That's you.
Yeah.
You did that.
If you don't know what a piece is, I can give you some examples. A piece of chicken, a piece of cake, a piece of
Just any piece will do, right? Just any piece.
Gary say any piece of
any piece.
Any piece. Whichever one you feel like dishing out, that's the one I'm accepting today.
Thank you, Lord.
Let's see. My homeboy said they go silent because they be trying not to go to a T. Let's see. Brandy, I think she was laughing at the comment I made earlier. Let's see. Kirby says, yes, we should come home to peace. That's right, Kirby. And then Brandy also said, hey, Mika, some men were taught to not have feelings, so reversing that is hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
What I was going to say earlier, this reminded me of the comment I was going to make, is that men are super easy to train, really. And sometimes you inadvertently train them, right? Mm-hmm. If your man does something you want him to continue to do, Gary, you've heard this instruction before. Check out what I'm about to say. If a man does something you like and you want him to repeat that behavior, compliment on it.
Compliment it.
I'm going to give you an example. If a man mows the yard, and you know what? He's not as consistent mowing the yard as I want him to. If he goes and mows the yard, the next time you go out there with your best looking outfit on, with your best stuff while he's mowing, and bring him a glass of lemonade, a tea, or beer, whatever he likes, and say, baby, you're doing such a good job on this yard. And that Negro will mow the whole block. You done heard that before, right, Gary?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is true. It is very true.
We're easy to train. I think it was Dr. Gray's book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and he talked about training. Men are like training dolphins, porpoises, right? And he's like, they're easy. If you simply reward the behavior you want to see, and it's that simple. And I even give that advice to young women and say, hey, this joke ain't difficult. He ain't complicated. If he's doing something you like, reward it. Well, what am I supposed to do? Get creative. Hell, I don't care. Whatever it is. What do he like? Do that. Let's see. Jay Gilead says, that's right. I think he's saying he want a piece, Doc. I don't know if that's what he's saying I'm right about. Kirsten says, thank you, Doc. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look at that, a piece of
I told you a piece of anything.
and let's see. Lynn saying women don't hold what's rightfully his because you mad at him because Patty ain't mad. Dan. As a matter of fact, the P and D coming together just might resolve the issue. Wow.
Say that all the time.
All right now, Jesus.
Who said that? Who said I say that all the time?
I say you say that all the time. Don't be using sex as a punishment.
Right. Yeah. So, Doc, talk to me about that. How do you advise couples in that area? She brings up.
Do not use sex as a weapon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period. That's
talk
the
about
end.
some of the emotional effects that can have on a dude.
Yeah, because you're rejecting him or her.
Yeah.
But that rejection piece, that's big. Like you're saying no because he thought your chicken was salty. Like that doesn't even match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're rejecting him. That teaches him that anytime he has a disagreement or like a concern, it teaches him not to voice it because he then doesn't want to not be able to have sex. So then you get to another place of he's going silent. Well, yeah, he's going silent because he wants to keep having sex. He's not going to tell you, oh, babe, I didn't really appreciate how you did this, because now you've taught him any type of disagreement, any type of concern means I can't have none. And men want all the sex. So.
Yeah, that's right. Lily, I didn't ask you why do men go silent?
I think a lot of times I agree with what Nikki said. Sometimes they don't want to deal with the consequences from that discussion because we're going to use something in that discussion. Yeah. Okay, so he said this, so he ain't getting this.
Yeah, and women
can remember. You remember on January 3rd, 2011 at 2:07,
48 p.m.
Yeah. I think all elephants are females because y'all got memories like elephants. Y'all don't forget nothing.
Nothing.
We were riding down Broadway. You remember?
I was dating this individual. Y'all know, I tell y'all after the show who it was. I was dating this individual. We were coming from out of town. We were on an out of town trip with a group of her friends, and we were coming through this town, and they all started laughing and say, and I can't say the city because people will know, but I'm just gonna use this city, Mahia. Y'all know Mahia, Texas. They say we in Mahia, and she was the only one not laughing. And I'm like, what's up with Mahia? And that's because they remembered that when they came through there in the same fashion with one of her ex-boyfriends, when I say she went off on him about something that she was wrong about, and they all agreed, so she did. When I say not forgetting,
don't bring that up.
So you know me, I'm the wrong joker to tell some stuff. So every time you walk around with a long lip, we in my hair again.
And that's messy.
Let's see. Okay, Keisha said, in a relationship, I need 48 to 72 hours to process things. Don't say nothing to me. Just eat this sweet potato pie I made for you, my love. Well, as long as you keeping the sweet potato pie coming and all that other kind of stuff, he gonna give you that time. But again, still establish touch points to say, baby, I ain't forgot about I'm still taking time to process it. I'm praying on it. Just give me some time.
No, but what's in that sweet potato pie?
With her, ain't no telling. With her, ain't no telling. So, Lily, I'm going to start with you on this one because it kind of piggybacks on why do men go silent. So, when y'all were giving your answers, one of the things that I came up with, then I'm like, okay, then, based on what y'all are telling me, are men more likely to pick their battles? Lily, we'll start with you.
Oh, absolutely. You know what? I'm not going to say nothing because if I say something to her about this, she's going to bring up X, Y, and Z. And I didn't even know I did that. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know what her expectations were surrounding that. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. They're going to pick their battles.
And then when he started cleaning his closet out, what you doing?
Why? Talking with that shaky voice.
You should have
said that shaky voice.
Yeah, that's the thing. You should have said something. Wow. Oh my God. Gary, are we more likely to pick our battles than women?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If we feel like we're not going to be heard, or if we feel like it's just not worth the battle, then we'll swallow that and we'll move on. Yeah. But like I said, then that really does lead to people being unhappy because they have all these unresolved issues that the spouse may have not even known they had, or the significant other may have not even known they had. And so it leads to, we always talk about men having, hypertension and, high blood pressure and everything else. Wow. Yeah. What if that is from that? And so if we can't actually express ourselves to get that frustration out and it builds up in us, that then weighs on us physically. And then, that leads to early death. So ladies, you might be killing your husband. Right. If you don't listen to him.
Roberta Flack been trying to tell them for years, killing him softly, and you don't even know. So talk to me about that. Walk me through this, because it's good to pick your battles, right? That is some advice that we've given, right? So it's healthy to a certain extent to strategically pick your battles, because you don't want to be nitpicking about everything, right? Mm-hmm. There is a line to cross. How do they navigate through that? When I'm picking my battles, and why am I picking them to where it's not going overboard with being too silent?
I think
you're asking.
No, Doc. Yeah, I said Doc. Walk me through them.
So I think how I tell people to navigate it is, what are your deal breakers? Are you going to lose the whole relationship because he did not put his sock in the hamper and he put it next to the hamper? If that's a deal breaker for you, that is something you absolutely bring up. You know what I mean? It comes down to, what am I comfortable with long term? You don't want to pick at everything, because you're going to get on your own nerves eventually. Right. Like, oh my God, like stop that. But what can I deal with for 6 months? What can I deal with for 6 years? If I cannot deal with this sock next to the hamper, that's something I have to speak on. So it's just really about how comfortable you want to be in your relationship. everything can't be a thesis statement. Like we don't have to have a discussion about every single thing.
Wow.
But there are some things that really matter. Hey, when you do this, it triggers me. I feel this way. Those things you have to talk about. But that, to me, that comes with knowing yourself and figuring out who you are and what it is that you will and won't accept. And then those are the things that you talk about and dissect.
So what if and I know you've heard this, and as crazy as it may sound, I'm sure somebody done said the way he chew, the way he blow his bubble gum, the way he. Some people they get on their nerves, don't it?
It does, because I personally don't like mouth noises, so I understand that. But I hate it. Like when people just be smacking. Oh, it drives me. Oh, I can't. It drives me insane. So for me personally, I could not be with somebody who did not chew with their mouth closed. Like we just can't do it. But that's just me personally. You could have 1,000 other qualities, but that smacking, that's gonna send me over the edge. So you have to know yourself.
What if he good and everything is? We just take your meals separately.
She just told you.
He gotta be coachable, because and so you just have to know, like, this is really small. Am I gonna throw away this man of my dreams, this knight in shining armor, because of this small thing? And for some people, it's a yes. But and if it's a yes for you, I think you just have to own that.
Mm-hmm. Mika?
My brother threw away a lady because she had dots on her tongue, but that's for another day.
Oh my God!
And Mika threw away somebody because he laughed with his tongue out,
like that.
So look here, Doc.
That might not have been
He laughed like that. Oh my God.
In my defense about the doctor, in my defense, I'm a kisser, and I didn't know if she was contagious. I didn't know if she was part child. I didn't know what the deal was. So
he called me and said, Mika, this lady had dots on her tongue, and I had to get rid of her. And I was like, what else? Was anything good about it? He's like, I don't know, because she had dots on her tongue. And then the devil got busy and got it back in my face a couple months later. He was at the table. Y'all, the date lasted about 48 minutes. Every time I say, I was like, oh my God.
Wait, even the small laugh?
My heart was just beating so fast every time he laughed. I was like, is this okay?
What was funny about it, see, that was the universe getting back at her.
Yeah.
He was trying to check me about my decision, and then she had her own tongue to deal with.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
So, does anybody disagree?
See how you do it?
Does anybody disagree with that fact that men are more likely to pick their battles? Does anybody disagree with that?
No, I don't do
that. So we had talked about why men go silent. For the most part, y'all mentioned aversion to conflict, right? I'm trying to avoid this conflict. One that I think that Doc may have touched on a little bit, but it's many guys hate failing and feeling inadequate. Right. So sometimes they're gonna be quiet because every time they talk about something, you checking them in a way that makes him feel inadequate, or he feels like I done failed at something. So I don't feel that way. I know not to go there no more, And Lynn's serious. We done found out her pet name for the D. She says, you better not take Dan.
All right, Dan.
Come on, Dan.
Dan the man. Dan the man.
Kirby says, give it up like a good girl supposed to. God, dog, Kirby.
Oh, my. Come on, Kirby.
Bradley said, I think a great deal of our black men deal with avoidance attachment. Look at her. that is senior year conversation. We're not talking about that right now. This stuff first. Come back on part 3 and we'll get into avoidance attachment, okay?
Oh,
she's trying to be the teacher's pet, like she knows some words and stuff.
Hush, Ted.
We know you
don't do that.
Done taught you some stuff too.
Don't do that.
Derek said the sweet potato pie better not be a reference to help. Yeah, that's good.
You're absolutely right. That's where my mind went.
Brandon said shake boys, shaky boys. And Lynn said not part child.
Stupid.
All right, so this one goes by quick, and I'm telling you right now, I've not even come close to half of what I wanted to talk about on this subject. So we're gonna have to do a part 2 for sure. Another thing, so we talked about why men go silent, and one final point on that aspect, and correct me if you disagree, anybody, but silence is a form of communication.
Yes, Lord.
Oh, yeah.
It's loud.
It's louder than my response sometimes.
It's loud.
Ain't it? Yeah. And see, I can tell the way y'all shook y'all head. Y'all try to use that shit as a weapon. You know, like I need this joke. Instead of telling me what you got a problem with, I'm gonna let this silent. What's wrong with you, baby? Nothing. Why are you acting like that? Like what? Ain't nothing wrong.
Mm-hmm. Or we'd be like, I'm not doing anything. What do you mean?
Ain't nothing wrong.
What you mean? What's going on?
I don't have nothing to say.
Then I walk out the room. Okay. Oh, you just gonna walk out like that? You just said there wasn't nothing wrong.
Now that's still an area I'm growing in.
Okay, so I think the last aspect of this I want to cover with the time we have left is the way men communicate in relationships completely different than the way women communicate. We're gonna start with Nikki on this one. Is the way men communicate in relationships completely different than the way women communicate, or is that overblown?
No, I think they do communicate differently than we do. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about them when you have something's on their mind, how they try to come to you and talk to you about it, and then the ladies get their draws all in a bunch or whatever about whatever he's saying. I think that with regards to that, I think that it is they do communicate differently than we do, because women, we think that we got to just run in and get our point across and not even allow the man even the opportunity to respond. So I think that they really do communicate differently than we do.
Yeah, I've told people that our minds as human, our minds are rigged to self-justify. You know, so basically we can always justify our actions. I was thinking, this happened because of this. My stomach was hurting that day. Such and such. When somebody else do something, there's no justification for it, no matter what. You know. So again, our minds are rigged to self-justify. Lily, is the way men communicate different than the way women communicate, or is it completely different, or are we just overblowing that?
I don't think it's completely different. I think they're communicating just like us. We are just receiving it differently.
Okay.
I think perception is everything. So I think a lot of times he can come to us calm, or I can come to him calm and say something, and he received that. Okay, all right, we're going to work on it. But he can come to me in that same calm manner, and I flip the script. Well, he's communicating the same. I'm just receiving it on the defense. Okay. So I think that's what makes it different.
So you agree with me and Gary? It's all y'all fault. Mika, is the way men communicate completely different than the way women communicate?
I agree with Alicia, and I really think it depends on the man, and if he's done, like, it depends on, you know, where he's been in relationship, if he's done work, if he's been in therapy. So it just depends on the man. I don't think it's completely different. I think we just receive it differently.
Gary, same question. Is it completely different, or are we overblowing that?
I think there are some differences. I mean, just in the way men look at the world. I think men, one looks at it from more of a one looks at it from more of an emotional standpoint, versus where one doesn't look at it from such an emotional standpoint. So it could some things could actually be triggered by, again, that how that conversation starts. And so it's just, but it's a matter of finding the communication that works best for each relationship.
That's right.
And then kind of moving forward from there. But it takes some fine tuning. You know, it starts out one way, then over a 5-year, 10-year, 15-year period, it turns into morphs into something totally different. And people are able to, you know, then the communication is down. Actually, it's down where you don't even have to say nothing to each other.
Yeah.
You look at each other, you nod your head, you know, it, you know, everybody's on the same page, but it just takes a little bit of tweaking. And if you can last through that period where you're ramping up that communication, then I think that's when you get something beautiful in the end. But it's hard when you're meshing that in the beginning. But yeah, I definitely think there's two different ways to communicate.
Love it. Doc, final thought on that piece of it. Is it completely different?
No, I agree with him. I think that it's pretty much the same with differences just based on like how we view things. Women like to say a lot of words. Most time men are like, let's just get straight to it. We want to talk about, oh, we did blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, no, this is what happened. Yeah. I think there are small differences, but I don't think it's like completely opposite.
Yeah, I saw a little clip today. Somebody sent me. I don't know if it was Craig. It might have been Gary. I think it might have been Craig. But Dion was talking about the relationships, and he's like, you know, if
that was Alicia.
Or was it Lily? About if a woman puts her hand on your shoulder, it's because she wants you to put her hand on your shoulder. If she come and ask you how was your day, she wants you to ask her how was her day. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna do what she wants you to do. So last question here is how can we improve the communication in our relationships? One of the things that I used to ask early on is, what is your comeback? Meaning when you off the rails, you know, and there's no disagreement of the fact that you're off the rails, what do I need to do to get you to come back, to snap to, basically? And I've gotten some crazy answers. I've gotten answers, well, I say crazy, some varied answers, I'll say. One is say, just put your hand on my thigh. You know, just calmly place your hand on my thigh, and that'll calm me down, and I'll know, you know, okay, he's touching me. You know, there's a connection. Let me just chill for a minute. One chick told me, just say you want to go get some tacos. I thought she was joking. She goes, no, I'm 100% serious. She goes, you want me to snap back to? Just say, hey, you want to go get some tacos? And she goes, and I'll know, you know, that you know the deal, right? So with that being said, Doc, how can we improve communication in our relationships?
Listen first and like fully listen. Not listen to respond, listen to actually understand, and then repeat back what you think they said. Because sometimes you'll say like, what I hear you saying is blah, blah, blah. And then the other person can say, I absolutely didn't say that.
Yeah.
Before we explode, better understanding. So I'm going to say listen fully and then repeat back.
Oh, people say that. I'm going to tell you how they say it, though. She says stuff. She said, you trying to say I'm, you know, that's how they say it. They don't say, well, I think I hear you saying is, I'm a bitch. I'm a bitch.
You got to listen fully and then calmly ask if what you heard was correct. Because sometimes we get worked up by what we thought we heard, and that's not.
Listen without emotion.
Yeah. Say one more thing. Lily, how can we improve communication in our relationships?
I can't add anything to that. I think we really have to listen and remove emotion from it. Often, like if we already know that we're going into this, like, can we talk? And they start telling us what they don't like, we already been like, all right, I'm already getting a list of what I'm about to say back. I'm not even listening to you anymore. So removing emotion from that.
Right. Mika, anything to add on that? What can we do to improve communication?
Same, because a lot of times we tell students in the classrooms, we know they have it if they're able to repeat what we said and teach it to somebody else. So if your partner is able to repeat what you said and you actually receive it and it's correct, you've done your job. So yeah.
Yeah, and don't bring your job home trying to communicate with me like you computer. You ain't no supervisor at home. Your ass is a supervisor at work. You understand? Don't sit down with no pen and pad and tell me we're gonna do some things you need to work on. And we're gonna come touch base. And
don't worry about the pen and pad. I got it in my phone. I get my thoughts on my phone.
Gary, anything we can do to improve communication in our relationship?
No, I love what Doc said. Listening and listening not to respond, but listening to hear, understand what the problem is. And then be prepared to work through it. And I'll add also, again, circling back to what I said, finding out what way that you both like to communicate.
Yeah.
Some people can have a total communication just through text messages. You can get a lot done just through a text message. Some people need to have a conversation in person. Some people need to have a phone conversation, so you're not in front of each other, so you're not necessarily having, it's not so intense. Maybe if it's over the phone or whatever, just find out what works best for you. Yeah. Just trial and error is what it really boils down to.
Yep, and if she don't listen, you just say, "Shit, she just gonna be mad."
She just gonna be mad.
Did you bark while you were talking?
Don't do that.
Like that one lady that had to.
These allergies are winning the battle tonight. Don't do that.
I used to think Tourette's was fake until that mama had a lady used to come to the house or something.
Bye.
Hey, move on. Move on. I'm not talking about that lady because she still scared me.
Move on.
I don't something like that. Yeah.
You be like, wait a minute.
We came up to the door at the same time one day. And she was standing at the door waiting on mama to come answer, and I had a key, so I walked up to the door, and she got the barking and shit. I'm like, all right. You better
spots on the tongue.
Hello, everyone. We're an inclusive podcast. Thank you.
Nikki, any way we can improve communication and relationship?
I agree with what everybody said already, because me personally, I had a problem with listening to respond in my marriage in the beginning. So I had to learn how to just sit still, be quiet, let him say what he needs to say and process it. Or if I already could understand and his point of view, then I would just had to go ahead and start letting him know that I understand. I'll make a difference in this area or whatever, but it's hard sometimes because me, if I'm in an argument with somebody, I gotta have the last word. So, and that's just me. But he helped me to see things differently.
I have the last word when they walk out. When you leave, I'll be talking again.
Pastor Smith got a couple of good comments. He goes, "Don't be too prideful to repeat yourself. Make sure the other person heard you."
Yeah. That's good.
And then he also says, "When my wife and I have something serious to communicate that the other person may struggle to receive, we write a letter, send an email, or
Selena told me that. Yeah.
That's pretty, but you got to be in agreement with that, right?
Yes.
And because some folks will get offended if you try to have a serious conversation via text.
Yes.
The letter I could see because it's handwritten and it's more personable and that kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes them text, like I done had a couple of folks, I'm like, we will never have serious conversations via text.
Yeah.
Because every text I sent, you start into the shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. What are you talking about?
That person can't receive it though.
You're not good at detecting my tone in text, so stop trying. And I had to just say, hey, I'm never going to communicate serious stuff with you in text. If it's in text, you can consider it not serious. It's just light,
I have to agree with Derek on that because I've done that with Brandon, but that's because I need to get my thoughts out. And my way of getting my thoughts out is writing it out, because if I'm saying it, I might say it in a tone or a way you're not going to receive. So I try to remove emotions and write it out so that I like it. Like, okay, all right, this is cool. Let me send this because I'm not trying to come across in a negative way, but this is something I need to say.
Why your ink pen get real thick around this word? Then Gary, go ahead.
Where you capitalize.
And also one of the positives to a text message or an email or a letter may be just simply so that I think somebody said it, you can get your complete thought out without interruption.
Absolutely.
So you have my total, you have my issue in full. And so now we can go back and talk about it in person, but at least before we got redirected on, you don't ever pick your socks up, or whatever else. So sometimes it may be best that you write. I've actually even heard people suggest that. Write it out before you have that conversation.
But Gary is right, because sometimes as women, we just want to know that you heard it all. I don't even care if you agree with it. I just want you to hear it all. And you do that in a text message and a letter. You can go back to it. You can look at it. You can look at it again. You can refresh, but you received it. You seen it all.
All right, Nicole, let's give our final thoughts, ma'am. Communication hesitation.
First of all, I'd like to thank our guest for gracing us with their presence. It's always a joy to have you guys on the show.
Amen.
And I thank our listening audience as well, because without you guys, it wouldn't be possible for us to be on here. So we appreciate you for that as well. And then with my final thoughts, I just know that I'm not the only person who had to just try to learn how to communicate with my spouse. And I know that it was really extremely hard for me because I didn't have anybody really to mimic or to teach me anything. So I just want you guys, just be patient with your spouse, be patient with yourself, and you'll find it. You'll find the groove.
All right, Mika, final thoughts, man.
Thanks everybody. It was an enjoyable show. That hour went by quickly. Thanks Gary. Thanks Doc. You the bomb. I heard you got a waiting list, so I'm on that waiting list waiting. Therapize me, okay? And with the communication, it's a daily. Excuse me.
I said she gonna need 2 time slots. Doc. Go ahead.
Listen, not to respond, sir. Communication is a daily battle. It's something that you need to do, and get better at daily. It's gonna be forever. You're gonna be forever trying to learn how to communicate better with your partners. It doesn't stop. So find your groove, find something that works for you and your partner, or for you, not even with your partner, with your family, at work. Just find something that works for you.
Lily, final thoughts.
Thank you to Gary. Thank you to. If you start humming a song every show. Thank you.
Is that the beginning of Frreman?
Yes. He does it every show. Thank you to Gary. Thank you to Doc. It's always a pleasure having you guys. As far as communication goes, find what works for you and your partner. And if it doesn't work, she just gonna be mad.
That is Lily's takeaway, obviously.
Don't text me that tomorrow morning. Don't.
I am absolutely curious.
I think part of it is because it came from Gary. That's why I feel it that way.
Oh, Gary hit home with that. I'm taking that all 2023. You're just gonna be mad.
You just gonna be mad.
All right, Doc, final thoughts, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I always love coming, hanging out with y'all. It's always a great time. Final thoughts on communication. Be a safe place for your partner to land. Whether you are the woman or the man, just be a safe place for them to land.
Yeah, she can damn sure land over here.
That's enough.
What about to tell them when they can see your show, Perspective, where they can find you?
So Perspective is every Thursday. Me and my wonderful co-host Eric and Keisha. It comes on Thursdays, 8:30 Central. You can find us on the BS3 Network, Perspective Pod. Oh, also, I'm having a conference. I'm having a conference. It's going to be March 18th. at Dwell 24/7 in Arlington.
Oh, okay.
Feel free to hit that up. It's going to be amazing.
Where can they get information on that? Go to a
my
website.
Instagram. Yeah, go to my Instagram. It's all over my Instagram. Click the link in the bio, buy your tickets, all that. Just start with my Instagram at Latoya the Therapist. You'll find that.
You're going to have some copies of your book at the conference for them to buy?
Everywhere I go.
Tell them
and Doc getting fine over there.
Oh, you been seeing me? You been
seeing me? Tell them the name of the book again.
The Wife's Guide to Beating the Side Chick. It is available on my website at latoyathetherapist.com. It's also available on Amazon if you have Prime.
Because there's a lot of motherfuckers out there losing right now. So
they are gone.
Because they're not a safe place to land.
That's right.
Not a safe place to land.
Yeah, and they're not coming in the house with peace and peace.
and a peace.
Yeah.
And a piece.
Piece of anything.
What it is.
Gary, final thoughts there.
Oh man, I thank you all for having me on here again. Always a blast. Always fun to be on this show. I just to piggyback on what everybody else said. I definitely communication is the key. I'll say it again. Find a way best that you all can best communicate with each other, and stick with it, and kind of fine tune it and roll with it. Also, don't be above critique, and this is for both men and women. So your spouse isn't coming to you to knock you down, or your significant other. They're coming to you to make you better, or at least make the relationship better. So, or tolerable, or whatever the case may be. So have that understanding when you hear that, because like my granddaddy used to say, "Nigga, your shit stank." That was his way of saying, "Hey, you ain't perfect. You just like everybody else. You got some issues."
Thank you, Lord.
So, just understand that, you got some things you got to work out. So
thank you, Lord.
Somebody gonna bring it to you. Yeah. And if they bring it to you, just say, okay, well, that's one of those points that I'm not perfect at, and it's something I got to work on. And we all have egos, and we all struggle with that. Because we think we are our best selves, but we change every day. We change every day. We get better, and sometimes it's self-help that makes us get better. Sometimes it's an outside force that makes us get better. It's just a matter of accepting whatever that is that motivates you to get better, and get better for not only you but for your spouse. So I think that's very important.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going to use one of John's lines, and he talks about getting to know that individual. He said, "You too worried about how they coming off the top rope on you, and how they putting that thing down, and you ain't taking the time to get to know them." Like one of the biggest things that people overlook is their family upbringing. If you are someone who came from a huge family and y'all are talking loud all the time and stuff like that, because you have to be heard, and he was a only child, it probably gonna seem like you talking loud to him, but you'll know that, sometimes you even need to figure out, Joker, you put your ketchup in the refrigerator or the pantry. You need to know what's going on, So number one, just pay attention to the upbringing. Number two, make up your mind. It's a lot easier to take what they're telling you when you make up your mind about who your partner is. If I'm worthy to be married to, then that must mean you trust me with your life, basically. And if that's the case, then you got to trust other than making us better when I come to you. So make up your mind as to who your partner is. And then finally, therapy ain't bad.
Yeah.
Therapy ain't bad. Talk to somebody together. Let's see. Jay Gilead says, what's up, man? For sure. Anytime. Great show. And then he also says,
okay.
Yes, indeed.
Love it. Yeah, love it. All right. So next week, not quite sure what we're going to be doing next year, if there's going to be a show, in fact, because I got JP in St. Louis that's texting me every 5 minutes about going to the playoff game in Tampa Bay next week. So if I'm in town, we'll have a show. In fact, Katina Washington will be our next guest, whether that be next week or the 17th or the 24th. She will be our next guest. And she is the founder of the She Experience. The She Boutique, and she's a go-getter in the Indianapolis area. And so I can't wait to have her on. And I'm trying to get her to do this She Experience thing in Dallas too. So
nice. This is a piece that you cannot buy.
Oh, please cut her mic off.
Now gargle first before you gonna sing or something.
Cut her off because she was gonna be mad.
And what's she holding up to her mic? Oh, the microphone.
That mic.
She need to beige that mic.
Well, get me off of here.
All right, we will see y'all next time on another episode of Queen3 and King. Please go to YouTube, subscribe to our Facebook channels, go to BS3 Network, download the Roku TV channel if you have not done so yet, and we will see you next time on another episode of Queen3 and King. Y'all say bye.
Y'all.
Are we smiling or what are we doing?
The Queen Bee has arrived.
You know. We'll show out then. So I'm gonna start with both of y'all's hands right here.
Look for my thumb.
Look for your thumb.
Like if you can see my thumb on this mic.